code kind of thing. He did a lot of corrections, and then I ended up doing a lot of corrections on my own. I did a lot of these corrections and so kind of thing. When I told him that I was going to go test it now, because I originally had the codes that would do all of those 3 spells that were going to start regenerating your health and stuff like that. I didn't make them yet. So when I made them, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go start testing it now, seeing if it works. First run through, we had a little bit of an issue where it would give you all 3 generations no matter what health percentage you were at. And the emergency regen didn't trigger. Okay. This is a little bit of an issue, but whatever. So I thought what happened is that maybe the thing that triggers this is being applied after the fact. It's being after the fact, right? It's being, it's like the thing that's supposed to govern the maximum health is being triggered after the fact. So towards the game, it thinks that it's actually in danger, so it's giving me the regens. So I changed the trigger slightly. I did a little bit of editing on it, changed it slightly so that it would work almost exactly the way that I intended it for it to work. And lo and behold, it worked slightly better. Now it doesn't even give you the spells. Plus, it doesn't give it to you at any point in time, but it doesn't give it to you if you're in critical condition. And the emergency regen is still not working. I think that what's actually being triggered right now, and I don't know if there's a way to kind of have it go about this, is that I wanted to kind of go back to the beginning of the code, do the same calculations, and then go back into each and every interval and find out, okay, this person's at less than 90% health, give them the slow regen. Okay, this person's at 60%. You need to go do this. This person's at this stage. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Like, there's not really any kind of conditions for this. And I'm not experienced with Oblivion modding where I can literally just go, I know the code for this, and just immediately do it. Because if I actually was, I would have done everything. And that is the whole plan for the health one, for the health regeneration, for the most part. And I think that that is a wonderful thing to happen, is that at the end of the day, we're going to have a beautiful health regeneration that is going to only be triggered during combat. That is actually the big thing, is that it's supposed to work that way. And I think that is wonderful. Now, the Magicka there is a Magicka regeneration, there's a Fatigue one. The Fatigue one's nothing special. It's going to be the same as the 3 health conditions, where, like, if your Fatigue is at a critical stage, I think I have it as 33%, 67%, and a sort of 99%. It is going to do that. All they're going to be stopped, of course, when you're at maxed, obviously. So, who really cares, right? But anyway, so for that, that's just going to be so that we can do power attacks more frequently, and not only just do power attacks, but we can also jump around very nicely. So that's going to be plus on that. Because my Oblivion class that I prefer to use is the Jumping Spell Sword. Mind you, you don't really get to see that all that much. The reason why I'm not really doing it nearly as much is because every time I try and do it, my whole desk shakes. And I know for a fact that you can actually hear it in the microphone, and that's why I'm trying not to do it. You know how hard it is to try and suppress something that you really want to do? That's what I feel every time I want to be my Jumping Spell Sword ways, is that I'm trying to stop myself from doing it, and I feel so bad for wronging me of this thing so much. Because I absolutely love it. So Magicka actually has a different sort of case. So Magicka will always go to 100% during battle, so you'll always be fully magica'd out kind of thing during battle. But when outside of battle, that's where things change. So outside of battle, there's only one way, technically two if you count the Lucky Old Lady, but we're going to ignore that for now. So outside of battle, there's only one way of doing it, and that is healing vitality. Now the problem with healing vitality is that at lower levels, it is more difficult at getting towards that stage. It's more difficult at trying to maintain your magicka levels, especially since the only way for you to get those higher magicka levels is quite literally what am I thinking? Is quite literally just saving it or just using the Lucky Old Lady statue, which is not really going to be the best bet of getting magicka. So I opted for battle magicka regeneration. Two issues. One, during battle, we're going to have to regulate it a lot. So, yeah. So magicka is going to have 4 different stages. It's going to have, I think it's 1, 3, 7, and 10. So at the end of the day, it's going to be at 10 points per second, and it's going to be at 25% intervals, which I think is going to be really, really nice. It's very easy. But for the most part, this becomes an issue. So when you're outside of battle, if you are not at 100 magicka, because that's exactly what you need a 100 magicka for this, you're gonna have a rough time. Do I have a flyer before I continue onward? Well, I am gonna continue onward, I'm just trying to figure out if I actually have a flyer though. I don't. Yay! And technically there is a legendary bird near me, but I don't really want to go for it. So I'll go to Saffron for a second, and I'll go into figure out something. Anyway. So of course, healing vitality has a cost of 100 magicka. That's pretty low. For a heal that heals more magicka than what it actually costs, that's incredible. But you want to know what's really, really bad about it though? Well, there's one thing that's really bad about it. And that is that at lower levels, as I said, there is a much higher chance. I've had it happen to me a bunch of times, I think, during Nehrim, where my magic regeneration was not nearly as good as I thought it was. So quite literally, we had a problem. So here's how we change it. We have a separate script built into the magicka regeneration that at any point outside of battle, outside of combat, it will try and restore our magicka. I don't know if I can actually do a base amount. I know how to do it through percentage, but I'll try and see if we can do it through base amount, especially at such a low thing like 100. I think it should be easy to do. But we're going to try and see if that does anything. I'm going to try something really quick on the Oblivion thing. I want to try something. Mind you, I got to do some recording of that, so I might just hold off on it. But I will definitely test it off screen, and I'll see if that actually changes anything. But pretty much, outside of battle, we're always going to have that script, a script running in the background that will, is it speeding up? Okay, it just doesn't feel like it. But we're gonna have, I'm gonna have a script built in that's going to give us the passive magicka regen. I'm trying to figure out how to name it. It's gonna have a passive magicka regeneration that's going to be it's gonna be like a 1 point a second so that we're going to constantly do it. Now, there are two kind of, I don't want to say kind of weird, but there's two sort of problems with this. I know there's a card game. Actually, I should just say the card game. I don't really think it matters if I just say there is a card game that has this kind of thing. In Magic the Gathering, there is a certain clause in a lot of creature cards, especially when they give mana specifically, where they say you can only cast this mana for creature spells or for sorceries or instants or something along those lines. Now, in theory, I could attempt something similar, but then again, that would just kind of defeat the purpose of it. So I think that, and plus the spells that it kind of interacts with in this case don't really do damage, so it doesn't really think it should be that much big. I think the one that's more overpowered is the Skeleton Key spell, but then again, that's because it's meant to. Anyway, what am I talking about here? Well, there are some spells that the Dark King has that don't cost higher than 100 magicka. A lot of those spells actually like unlock chests that are supposed to be very, very difficult. The other one is to create a light area, I think. I don't know if I changed that one. I need Cutter. Are you kidding me? Anyway. Yeah. Please don't skip it. Anyway. Yeah. So, like, that's the whole conditioning for those kind of thing, is that, like, there's, I think, Light of Fate, there's a couple of other ones that I kind of wanted to do, that kind of can do it. I think there's Skeleton Key. I don't think there's many self ones. I think they're mostly just targets, and they're mostly just for random things that are not really too much, like, needing to worry about kind of thing. The one thing I can definitely remember off the top of my head that, so the other kind of conditions, actually, now that I'm remembering these, one of them was that it's more so for more of a cosmetic kind of thing. I don't want to say cosmetic, because it doesn't really sound like it's cosmetic, but it does sound more cosmetic. I don't know how to word it. Anyway, so this cosmetic change is that at any point, if we were to go into the walking animation, which is what happens normally if you actually go through Oblivion, that's your normal walking. And if you're running, that's what happens when you click caps lock. Now, I usually have all my saves at the opposite end. They're always running, and when I click caps lock or shift is temporary. Shift you have to hold. It's not toggle. Caps lock is toggle. So if you shift your character, like if you were to create a new Oblivion character and you click shift, that's what our constant running speed is, especially for any time that I play Oblivion. That's our constant speed, is whatever that can go as max as possible. Now, the problem is that when you're trying to do a dramatic walkthrough and your speed's at 325, it looks like you're walking fast. That's not cool. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to so that you can temporarily change the speed value from 325 or whatever it's at to 50 or something that looks more dramatic. And I think that would be kind of cool. So there's that. That's one of the things that I wanted to do. The other thing is that this I'm definitely going to need a lot of help with, because I don't know how exactly to get it to work, and I don't even know if there's even a mod that has this pre-built or pre-established or whatever, however you kind of want to word it as, right? So this is kind of where that weird sort of area that I don't know too much about is. And I don't know how far modding has gone for this, and I know that there's not really too many new Oblivion modders that are constantly working on this, right? But I do know that there are a couple of Oblivion mods, trust me, I have a lot of quest ones that actually have this, that not really that require you to do this, but they recommend to use torches rather than light spells because of the fact that it creates more of a mood lighting kind of thing. Trust me, when I was running Oblivion on a laptop and I was using torches, it was garbage. As soon as I got my first computer that can actually run Oblivion with a bunch of mods perfectly fine, I used the monitor, it was better. I remember the mod, and I know for a fact we're going to be playing it at some point, but it was beautiful, and it looked, because it was supposed to be slightly horror focused, but it looked absolutely beautiful, and I was happy for it. But for the most part, yeah. But the only problem is that for torches, you have to hold it in the hand. That's a problem.